So today I'm answering a question that someone put out. Can I answer question 6 of the 2018 paper 2 MEI OCR maths paper? And so I've written it out at the top there, and I'm just going to go through how to answer these. So when I get a question like this, I often focus first of all on this bit there, and that confuses me somewhat. So I remind myself, actually, this is what I need to first focus on. And so I need to expand that, if you remember how to do this. In fact, actually, fortunately, when you look at the formula sheet, they give you a hint on how to do this. So I'm just going to write that out in the form like this. Watch. So if you can remember, it's cos x, cos alpha, minus, because it's the opposite one of that one, sine x, sine alpha. So now what you need to do is you need to say, well, actually, there's a correlation, a connection rather, here, because the question says I've got 7 cos x minus 24 sine x. And what I see is I've got a cos here, okay, and let's show you where the sine is. Now that means, if I'm thinking about this, that means that r cos alpha must equal 7. So r cos alpha must equal 7. So let's write that down. We know that r cos alpha equals 7. And in the same way, you should be able to now connect the 24 to r sine alpha. So we now have r sine alpha equals 24. Now, again, there's a connector between sine and cos, and that's tan. I know that tan alpha equals sine alpha over cos alpha. And that's great, because now I've got it into one unknown, because that equals, and the r's will cancel out. If I put the r's in, you'll see that they will cancel out, which is kind of neat. They cancel out, don't they? So I've just got now sine alpha over cos alpha, 24 over 7. And so what I do on my calculator, I simply go shift, tan, open bracket, use a fraction button there, 24 over 7, close that bracket, equals 73.739. Now, key important thing here is don't round up until the very end. So leave it in your calculator, because you'll need that later on. Okay, so I'm going to leave it in the calculator there. I've got my alpha, which is that part there. I now got to find my r value. So how do I do that? Well, let's look at what I've got. I know this and I know this. So let's look at this one here. So I know that r sine alpha, which I now know is that. Well, I shouldn't be dot. There we go. I know that round up. Don't round it. I use your calculator. I know that equals 24. So therefore I can rearrange so that r now equals 24 divided by sine and whatever my answer was there. So I'm going to leave it like that. So if I did that, here we go. So I'm going to say now it's 24 divided by the answer. Oh, so it's sine of the answer. So let's just make sure I've got that right. So delete sine answer, close bracket, equals 25. So that r now equals 25, which is great. So I've got r equaling 25. Let's put that in this colour. And so I end up with this formula here. I've got my R value and I've got my alpha. So it's 25 cos bracket x plus 73.7. Then the question says, after that, the question says, well, write down the range of the function. Write down the range of the function. So how do I do that? Well, let's just bring back, it says here, this equation here, f of x equals 12 plus 7. Now, recognize that we've just worked out what that is. We've just worked it out as being 25. So let's put that in. I've worked it out as being plus 25 cos x plus 73.7. And that's important because the second part, it must relate to the first part. Now the range, if I were to just quickly go like this. Now, often when we do a normal cos graph, then what you see here is, or the cos goes like that, doesn't it? What you see here, that's a 0 line, whereas here, that's now my 12. And that lifts it up to 37, because the maximum value of that is 1. The maximum value that can be is 1. So the highest point is 37 in the range, and the lowest point of that could be minus 1. So if I take away 12 take away 25, I get minus 13. So my range now is between minus 13 and 37. So the range is between minus 13 and 37. And that's how you do it. Hope that's helped.